So, should automated self-driving cars be banned from the UK roads? That was a question that I was posed with this week whilst talking to a colleague at work regarding risk. And it got me thinking a little bit more about it. So in this video, I'm going to go through some of the key arguments that I put forward as to whether or not automatic car driving should be banned in the UK. So let's start off with the first point, which was the software involved. So the software involved in auto car driving, piloting, whatever you want to call it, is still really in its infancy. I know Tesla have been collecting data from their cars for years and years, building a model, but it's still quite new. What if that software or that network could be attacked by a hacker or cyber criminal? What if somebody got into the Tesla network or other countries, shall we say, not naming any, if they managed to hack into our network of automatically driving automated cars in the UK? Do we think that's safe? Do you think, is that something that you'd be happy with? The risk from cybercrime at the moment is at its all-time highest. People are falling foul to scams, getting credit cards stolen, false ID. People are now looking at AI video manipulation and fake AI pictures. Cybercrime could be a big risk to us if our cars are automatically driving on the roads and are taken over by a cyber criminal or a gang or a foreign country. There was a movie I watched recently. I cannot remember what that movie was called, but it involved a catastrophic event happening in an area in America. And at certain points through the video, as the survivors kind of tried to understand what was happening, there was a scene where the highway was full of smashed up cars on the highway, the freeway, the motorway, whatever you want to call it. Those cars looked like they'd been involved in an accident because people panicked and they were fleeing and so on. But later in the video, you see another couple of cars come hurtling down the road with no drivers. They were on automatic control. And that was like a subliminal warning in that movie that potentially this could happen if cars are centrally controlled or automatically driving themselves around our roads. So that's the first problem. So the second argument I put forward was about the changing in weather conditions and how an automatically driven car could understand what the weather was like. Does it know how cold the road is if it's icy? Can it tell how deep snow is? Can it detect black ice? Is the car willing to drive normally where we may drive slightly more cautious in bad weather? Certain types of weather can also interfere with some of the onboard systems. So I know if my windscreen is dirty, my automatic window wipers and the automatic camera, the distance camera for warning me when I'm too close to a car in front, they complain, or they turn themselves off, or they give me some kind of warning that I need to clean the windscreen. What if there's nobody in that car to be able to do that or stop or get out and give it a bit of a wipe because it's outside the range of those window wipers? So sensors can be affected by different types of rain, different types of cloud, fog, heat, satellite lights can get interfered with during thunderstorms. So that was another argument for the case of whether this should be allowed to be used on UK roads. Again, this was just a question that was thrown at me because I'm interested in risk and I study risk, and it's like, what are your thoughts on this? The third one, which was an interesting argument that we discussed, was what about the ethical decisions that a car may have to make? And we use this quite a lot in discussions around human factors and human performance and ethics in general, is if the car was posed with a situation of running over a single person or a small child versus a group of people, maybe old, what decision would that car have to make in that situation? Would it potentially hit the one person or the one child, or would it go for the group of people? And morally, who codes that into the computer, into the software to make that decision? Because that's not something that a computer can learn on its own. There will be parameters and guidelines programmed in by the software makers. Another argument that we put forward was, when you're driving a car, you are also making subconscious communications with other people on the road. This could be hand gestures. This could be people signing to you for you to go first. It could be cyclists putting out hands to turn. Could be pedestrians not looking when they're about to cross. They could be looking at the phone, for instance, or distracted in some other way. So, would an automated car be able to do the same? Would an automated car be able to look and understand that somebody is not paying attention to the road and they're about to cross? Would an automatic car be able to take that that non-verbal communication and process it in the same way as what we might as a human, where we'll beat the horn, or we'll slow, or we'll take a bit of a wider turn just to avoid that person who obviously is not paying attention to the road? But could an automatically driven car do that? Another argument is the over-reliance on technology. And this is a discussion I've had recently with somebody who is a driving instructor. And it's, are we making driving tests easier by using the introduction of technology, and you lose that actual driving skill that older people like myself have grown up with and have adapted to over the years? An example of this is the automatic braking systems that are in modern cars, where if you get too close to the car in front, the car will automatically brake, and if you don't brake, it will do an emergency stop. That's fantastic as a safety feature on a car, but is it making people more reliant on technology to keep them safe, rather than themselves keeping an eye on the traffic and braking themselves accordingly? So that over-reliance could make people become less skilled when it comes to driving. Things like parking sensors are great, okay? Parking sensors are fantastic to stop you from hitting objects front and rear when you're turning. Rear view cameras are fantastic as well. But as a learner, should you be using that technology, or should you be learning how to drive a car without them? And My daughter passed a test earlier this year, and she was in a driving instructor's car. It had all this fancy cameras and lines around when you're reversing to show you the direction of the car and where it's going to go and things, which is brilliant. But now she's passed a test, she's got a 12-year-old car which doesn't have that kind of technology built into it. Luckily, when she was learning, we also took her out in her own car and she did learn those skills. But if it was relying on the instructor's car and then pass the test and then they go into their own car afterwards, are they safe drivers? Or are they literally going to rely on technology that isn't in their own car? So in an emergency, and this has happened to me with an older car of mine. It was an older car. It was modern at the time. I don't know what happened, but literally the whole dashboard, the whole console, everything blacked out. Just reset itself while I'm driving up the motorway. I'm not sure what caused it. It could have possibly have been a loose power connector and I hit a bump in the road or a pothole or something and it dislodged something, but the whole dashboard literally just went black. And I had the foresight to know how to bring that car to a stop in an emergency without relying on any technology. Are drivers who are learning today, are they being given that skill and that knowledge? So in an automated car, if for some reason there is a power outage or the car decides it's just going to shut itself down for whatever reason, is that driver capable of A, identifying that it's happened, B, reacting in a very fast, responsive manner, and C, able to control it and stop it without putting themselves or other road users at risk? Same thing, I guess, applies if you have a blowout on a tyre on the motorway. Are you able to control that vehicle to a stop in a safe and controlled manner? Final point I want to raise is, in the event of an accident, who is liable? Is it the squidgy person behind the wheel or in the driver's seat? May not have a wheel, but in the driver's seat, because it's their vehicle. Is it the vehicle manufacturer, Tesla, Honda, Polestar, whoever? Is it the software designers who design the software to do the thinking and react and make those decisions as to whether to run over a small child or a group of elderly people? Or is it somewhere in the middle where it could be a component failure and it's the manufacturers of that's to blame? So understanding where that legal liability sits is very, very grey area. It's going to extend the investigation time of accidents and payouts and compensation, because everybody's going to be blaming each other. It's also going to raise premium prices because it costs money to argue cases and to defend people. And it's going to take longer because there's now this grey area of who actually was the responsible person or accountable person for it. So that's going to cost more money for insurance companies. So that has got to affect our premiums. Always has done, always will be. I just wanted to do a very quick video to gauge your response, really. Do you think that automated cars should be allowed to drive on public highways? And who do you think holds the responsibility and accountability in the event of an accident? Please leave your comments below, and I'll do my best to reply to you all. But it's an interesting topic and an ethical dilemma that I was involved in, and it went on for quite a while, and there was quite a bit of argument, shall we say, about the pros and cons of it. So until next time, please like and subscribe, help me grow this channel, and if there's anything that you think you would be interested in with EV cars, please let me know, and I'll try and do a video for you.